do have a theist on the line. Connor, pronouns are he, him, from Texas. And it sounds like you want to talk about the atheist perspective when dealing with someone who thinks their ideas are superior. Can you clarify a little bit what you mean by this?
Okay, so first, it's more about a kind of a light verbal altercation I had at work.
Okay.
And so the background for both myself and my boss. So I was raised a Christian, and I converted to a different faith, and my boss just straight up Christian. So it kind of started. I was really just calling in to just get y'all's perspective on this, because it sounds like an atheist perspective would have more experience with this kind of stuff. So it started last week with the other week. This delivery driver who the company supplies us with stuff started asking me about religious views and all that. And, I'm just trying to be nice and just give him straight up answers. And when it gets to the point when the delivery driver asks me why I converted to a different faith, I give my reason. I give my explanation. But then my boss out of nowhere comes up with it sounds more like you did it for these other reasons instead, which were completely different from what I actually said. And then, so that's just the start of it. And then it kind of came to a boiling point ahead just in the middle of this last work week, where we kind of just started going at each other. And it got to the point where I just asked him if he thinks, I tried to talk to him about there's so little lack of evidence for both of our beliefs, and yet for some reason he's trying to make the claim that his views are automatically superior and right compared to mine, and I'm just inherently wrong. And it's just I'm kind of rambling here. So, and you just let me get a moment to collect myself. But any thoughts y'all have on this so far?
Richard, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, it's not a good idea to argue with your boss at work.
Yeah.
That's an immediate thing that springs out. Look, people, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what. Did you convert to a religion from a different religion?
Yes.
Yeah. So are you comfortable sharing what the religion you converted to is?
So I went from Christian to Baha'i.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
So this and the delivery driver is he a Christian?
Yes.
Yeah. So it kind of you've already got a point there, I think, where and you said your boss is atheist.
No, Christian.
No, your boss is Christian as well, right? Yeah. So
yeah.
You said something very interesting. You said something very interesting, Connor, when you said that.
Oh, okay.
Go on. When you said that, kind of none of us have good reasons for believing what we do, but they were kind of coming down on the superiority table. Yeah. So, you are in a difficult situation here when you've kind of gone from the mainstream religion to a different religion. And you've got these people who are talking to you like this. I think the only advice I would give is just respectfully ask them, put to them that you don't really want to talk about religion at work. You don't think it's the best place to do it, and you might be happy to have these conversations if you are indeed happy to have these conversations outside of work. But you don't want it to affect your work balance, if you like. If you think it might impede your ability to do your job if you've got this on your mind as well. And it's a very difficult situation you're in. But I think that is where I would start if I was in that position. I was uncomfortable with having these conversations. I would kind of just say I'm not comfortable. I'm not comfortable with this.
Well, that's where I would go too, because this is a professionalism issue, and I kind of think that, of course, like these things should start at the lowest level possible before escalating. So like my advice would be to bring it up, like Richard is saying, like, hey, I don't think this is appropriate work conversation. Like, I want to respect you as a person, and I would like to be respected as a person. And I understand that we have differences in our belief system, but I think that, like, in order to keep a good work relationship, we need to keep that to the side while we're at work and just have a professional work relationship. And like, and especially if it's a boss versus an employee thing, that gets a little weird too, because somebody has more authority in this than the other person. And it could be actually, like, depending on how this went down, like this could be grounds to report like religious discrimination at work, like depending on how this was going on. Like if you feel like you're being targeted, and your boss is like taking out certain things on you, like it might be worth, like, if this keeps getting out of hand, going to HR or something where you can report something like this. Because like, as much as I like debating religion on this show, like I don't talk about like religion at work, for all of these reasons. I think it just gets too sticky. So, I mean, that's where I would go with it. I don't really see this as being work appropriate.
So a few things I've been wanting to interject on. One, we usually don't have an issue with talking about this stuff at work. You know, we tend to be pretty relaxed about it. But the thing that was like kind of like what's really fractured for me is just this, where he got to the point where it's just like, my beliefs are inherently superior to yours. That's kind of where it kind of like just. And he's not a bad guy. I mean, he still gives me the same raise as he does everyone else every time it comes up. So he's not. I don't think he's targeting me for anything. But
I mean, either it sounds like
a little. So one thing that's also a little. I've never really. That's a little disconcerting is when he. Also, when I asked him like, what is your proof that your beliefs are the right one, and he said the fact that I haven't fired you yet. But I think he said that in the heat of the moment kind of thing.
I think even if you've had some good conversations in the past, I think especially after this has happened, you need a boundary here. Like, and as much as I love these discussions, like this just sounds like this is a recipe for disaster, especially in the workplace. Like, I think you need to set up a hard boundary and say, we are not going to talk about this at work. Like, I think that's the best way forward in all this, and I think Richard agrees.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, and I think that it's not surprising finding a Christian that thinks that they've got a superior kind of system of belief. I don't think it's surprising in any religion, even if you kind of come down to the like normally kind of nicer religions, the more friendly religions like Buddhism and stuff. They still think they're right at the end of the day. They still believe that they're right, and you're wrong. So, I think that's just inherent with having a belief.
So another aspect that I just thought of that may be relevant to this is because how I used to be in that same position of what he believes, but I was kind of a bit of a Christian supremacist, and it's kind of like a sore spot for me thinking back on that period as well, I guess.
So that's even better of a reason to put a boundary there and not talk about this at work. And that's kind of my position's really not going to push on that. Like
a Christian supremacist.
I mean, and it's up to you what you're going to do. My position really isn't budging here. Like I don't think these arguments necessarily need to happen in the workplace, especially if you're having fights over them at work. And with that, I think we're at the end of the show, so I'm going to let you go.